Hello. So a few years ago, I published my first book series, a teen series called the South Louisiana High book series. And it's sort of like mm, X-Men meets Gossip Girl. That's usually how I describe it, because it's all about this group of teenagers who live in the deep south, most of them in Louisiana, in a fictional town called Swamp Rose. And some of these teenagers, or this particular group, they find out that they have um, developed these strange superpowers, sort of like X-Men. One of the teens, she develops hers like I think when she reaches her like peak in puberty peak, if that's what you call it. I don't know. That's when she develops these strange powers, which is really crazy because puberty in real life is already hellish. So she also gets these weird powers on top of everything. And then there's another teen. He's a little different from the others in that he has always had his powers. Um, but of course, they're scared to tell anybody about their abilities, so they keep it to themselves. But they're all living in this same small town where lots of weird things happen. Like some people claim they've seen aliens and stuff like that. And all these kids are living there and keeping it to themselves that they have these superpowers. Um, and so the series kind of gets into like why they're happening in this fictional town of Swamp Rose, Louisiana. Like, why are there so many alien sightings? And why is there's also a rumor that there's a superhero, a real life superhero called Unseen, who is invisible, who like swoops in and saves people's lives. And some people claim that they have seen glimpses of Unseen, but most people think it's just like some weird myth. So the book delves into where what do you call it, the theory or not theory, the myth or legend of Unseen comes from, if they're a real person or not, why so many people think that they're seeing aliens in Swamp Rose, and it also gets into why these specific certain kids, not specific, why certain kids around town have superpowers. Like everything is explained a little bit more in each of the six books that make up the series. So, why did I create that series in the first place? Well, two reasons. The first is a boy. When I started writing the series when I was 17, which is crazy. That's a very long time ago. I remember the moment. Um, there was, I was sitting in gym class, and it was close. It was the last week of school for seniors, um, and there was this guy who I liked, but I was so painfully shy in in that year of high school. I was a little weird. I wasn't shy all 4 years of high school, but for some reason, the last 2 years, I was horribly shy. The first two was okay, but the I don't know what happened. I just it was weird. But anyway, and like he was so cute. I don't even remember his name now, but he was a gorgeous kid. I loved him. I didn't love him, but I had a huge crush on him. And the one time he had tried to talk to me because I was so shy, I accidentally shut it down. I was just like, I don't know. It was a very awkward moment where I didn't know what to say, so I just said something stupid. And he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna leave her alone." So, but while I was sitting, I remember the moment I was sitting on the bleachers in gym class, and I was thinking about like I was watching him play basketball because he liked to play basketball and he was with all the other boys playing basketball. So I was sitting up there by myself and I was watching him and I was thinking, what if I hadn't been so awkward, or if he had understood and seen past my awkwardness, what could have happened? And because I have a big imagination, then I was like, oh, and what if he was like Superman? What if he had all these powers? So that um that day I went home and I started writing a story about a girl named Lainey and a boy who had a really weird name. which I'm actually kind of embarrassed about because it's so weird. It's Silverin. I was 17. Okay. But Lady called him Sylve, and I recreated sort of like one of the moments when the poor kid had tried to talk to me, except I made it end better for her than it had for me. So, like I had the Sylve character see past Lainey's, excuse me, awkwardness, and I had them become best friends. Um, and of course, the Sylve character, I knew that I wanted him to have like superpowers because that would be really interesting. And at the time, I was very obsessed with Superman, so I sort of like based his character off of that a little bit. And I finished writing that first book years later. I only wrote like when I was 17, I wrote maybe like 3 pages of the story, but I had the idea in my head, not the full fledged idea, just the idea of the direction that I wanted the story to go in. So I wrote like the first 3 pages, and then I put it aside with a whole bunch of other stories that had started but not finished, and forgot about it for like 5 years. 18, 19, no, 7 years. I forgot about it for 7 years. And then when I was in my early 20s, or mid 20s actually, I got really, really sick. It was the first time I had to go to the hospital, was deathly ill, and touch and go. It was very scary. So when I didn't die, I was like, I hate my life. I'm not doing what I want to with my life. I want to write. I want to be a writer. So I was like, I dug through my old stories that I'd started writing when I was a kid, including that one, and I found it. And I was like, I know exactly what I want to do with this now. And so I wrote the whole book. I wrote it in like, and it's a long book. It's like maybe 500 pages at least, maybe 490 something, 500. I wrote the whole book. And then I realized, you know what? This should be the last book in a series. So I went back and wrote the first book, what I wanted to be the first book that would sort of set up the premise for Sylve having these powers. And then after I wrote the first book, I was like, there needs to be another book to explain what happens to these new characters. So then I wrote another one, and I was like, ooh, I want to write another one. So I ended up writing 5 other books, and then made the first one that I'd written the last book in the series. So, yeah, that's how the South Louisiana High book series came about. Because when I was in high school, I had a crush on a boy, and I decided to turn him into a superhero. So yeah, that's my nerdy little story for the day. And if you want to check out the South Louisiana High book series, you should be able to find it on Amazon. Because I'm an unknown author, you'd have to put in the South Louisiana High series by Paula L. Jones. Otherwise, you won't find it. You can also just visit my website, authorpaulalljones.com, and I have links on there that'll take you to where you can find the book directly on Amazon. So, okay, thanks for watching.